What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Okay, so this is the round 2 feature match. We've got Oliver Tomajko, Tomajko. I probably mispronounced that. And Rogger Antonio Vera Moran. Wow, that's a lot of names. We'll just call him Rogger. Okay, so it looks like Rogger opened. He opened with Mermillo. He got a bottomless trap hole, and then he said Nightmare, Evac, MST. So that is 5 cards. He should have 1 in hand, which he does. That's a really strong opening for pretty much any hat variant. I mean, you're getting your +1 with Mermillo, which puts you at your 6 cards, and then it's like he has Nightmare plus bottomless plus MST. So Oliver's gonna have his work cut out for him. It looks like he's playing. He is playing Infernity, which seems to be one of the most popular decks right now in the format, and it really is just because Infernity makes so much use out of their first turn. Like, they do more in their first turn in any deck. So okay, I would imagine that he's probably gonna, well, he upstarted. Look like he summoned Monk. I believe he pitched Paralabyrinth, and he's gonna activate Monk's effect, which will probably get Armageddon Knight, and then maybe he'll dump like a Shoot Patrol. Now, I would think against that many back row, you're, Excites on Knight, see what happens. Depending on, as long as you have, the right amount of cards and whatnot. Well, no. The fact that Roger went, The fact that Roger went +1 means that if you exceed, you're instantly at 5. So the whole problem that you would generally have, you no longer have. Now, it looks like Oliver is doing a pile shuffle for, I don't know what reason, honestly. He went for Archfiend. That's cool. Again, it looks to me that he pitched Paralabyrinth to summon the Archfiend with Monk's effect. Now, I think that all of this shuffling is pretty excessive to me, especially when these two decks, they go into their deck excessively, because with Infernity, you've got Archfiend, that goes into your deck. You have Eris, that goes into your deck. You have Foolish Burial, that goes into your deck. You have Monk, you have Armageddon Knight, you have everything goes in your fucking deck. Alright, so the Archfiend gets bottomless. Okay, I think his biggest concern is probably the Nightmare. If he gets through the Nightmare, dude, he should be good. He should be really good. He's looking at his Exiton Knight, obviously. He knows that that's the card he wants to make. Exiton Knight is that dude and Infernity, and this kid has 2 of them, so obviously he came prepared for battle. He has Break, Warning, another Monk. I can't see that spell. Instant Fusion, okay. If he had a Soul Charge, he'd be golden. If he had like a Soul Charge instead of the Break or something like that, because he can't even use the Break. Because his I think he'd have been better off, like, if somehow his Archfiend would have got blown up by like a Maratek, or it would have gotten like blown up by a Torrential or something like that. Like, he'd have been in a better position, because he can't even use the Break. I mean, he can Instant Fusion, he can Exceed. Whatever he summons is almost certainly going to get blown up by Nightmare. And I wonder what that card is in Oliver's hand. Because maybe it's another Mermillo, because if it was like a Maxi, he would have used it already. So obviously there's some type of hold up here. Okay, he's looking at the judge. The judge seems to be reading a card. And now the one good thing is about Oliver's hand, Mermillo can't actually get over the Monk. So for some reason, if he can't get through all the back row, it's not like he's in that awful of a position. Okay, so he's actually not going to use the Instant Fusion. He's going to pass, and I think we're going to see a blind MST here. We do see the end phase blind MST for, if he hits Break, that's a huge break for Oliver, because his Break's dead anyway. He hits Warning, and that's really bad for Oliver because he's sitting on a dead Break, which I assume is the card set. P dualities for Warning, 10 Goldfish, and I want to say that was a gadget, like green gadget. I think this is the guy playing gadgets in Worlds. It is Green Gadget. I mean, I just assume you see Mermillo, you just assume like it's hat, but no. Like, I guess gadgets are still legitimate. Now, I guess the card in Rogger's hand is wait, yeah. Is it Roger or Rogger? I mean, Roger usually only has one G. Anyways, the card, let's just call him Roger. The card in Roger's hand appears to be Dark Hole, which not going to get a ton of value against Infernity until basically they, you know, like make an established field. Now, Green Gadget searches the Red Gadget. Again, his position, Oliver doesn't know it because he sees all of these cards. His position is actually not nearly as bad as you would think. The two monsters that Roger has on board, okay, Green Gadget, Mermillo, neither one of them can get over the Monk. He cannot exceed because he used Pot of Duality, and it's not like he got any more defense, so you're in a good position. You have the Trap Tricks Nightmare that you have to worry about. You don't know it's down there, but obviously outside of that, you should be pretty good. Like, if he topped the Soul Charge, it'd be great right now. He could summon his other Monk, he could make Exciton Knight. His Exciton Knight would obviously die to Nightmare, and then you could just bring all the shit back with Soul Charge. Now, I believe he topped that. Okay, he topped that Street Patrol. It looks like, I thought it was Armageddon Knight, but it looks like he topped that Street Patrol. I'm not sure if I don't. Well, I'm not gonna say just summon Street. I might summon Street Patrol, attack the gadget, and then Exceed. And it looks like he's gonna Exceed first. I think that's a mistake. I probably would have attacked first. If you have the D Prison, good for you. And at first I thought this was Dragon Duels because Oliver looks extremely young. I mean, it could be Dragon Duels. I'm not certain, but Oliver looks very young. He goes into Exciton Knight. That's going to get blown up by Trap Tricks Nightmare, of course. So he loses his board. Now, if only Shockmaster was a thing in the TCG. If Shockmaster was a thing, oh my, Oliver would be super fucked. Because you just know Roger would make Shockmaster, and then that would pretty much be it. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, how are you summoning Monk if you just summon Street Patrol? I don't think that you can summon a second Monk. Okay, so he passes turn. And ooh, Roger drew a Compulse to make his hand even better. No way, I'm sorry. Compulse was already on the field. Sorry. He summons the Red Gadget to get the Yellow Gadget. Oliver's probably going to have about one turn before he just gets blown out of the water. Because, I mean, he's going to eat a lot of damage this turn. He eats 1,200 from the Yellow Gadget. He'll eat 16 from Mermillo. He'll eat another 14 on top of that from the Green Gadgets. And, I mean, again, he's lucky that Giant Hand isn't like, you know, a $10 promo, because that would be the card of choice that Roger would summon right here, almost certainly, because it would pretty much ensure game. Give up both of your gadgets. I mean, I guess in theory he could go like Gear Giant X. He could recruit for another gadget. I wouldn't really see a point in that, to be honest. I would think that you'd want to. I mean, I'd make Dweller before I made Gear Giant X, because if nothing else, Dweller at least stops Street Patrol. I mean, that's the only Exceed I could see him possibly either Dweller or a Luminescent Knight. Because at least a Luminescent Knight protects against like a break. I guess you could target it back to one of your opponent's like monsters or cards. He goes for Berserk of Rhapsody. Okay, you know what? That's the same basic principle. Gets rid of the Street Patrol. Plus, actually, that might actually be better, to be honest, because that got rid of other monsters as well. So there's pretty much no Soul Charge plays. Now you see that Roger is pretty much going to do a Power Shuffle. I find these to be completely unnecessary. That's just my personal opinion. Now again, I think that Oliver's position would have been a little better if he would have attacked with the Street Patrol, attacked the gadget. I see it as it would have been a low risk play, because the only thing that Roger could have really responded with was D Prism. I mean, no one really plays Mirror Force. I think he drew. a reinforcements of the... That could have been a reinforcements of the army, it looks like. He has that. He has... Oh, it's Soul Charge. Okay, well... clearly he doesn't have anything in his graveyard, so I would just summon Monk. I would pitch the Soul Charge for Monk, and then I would try and Exciton Knight again. I mean, basically just keep trying to Exciton Knight. Like, that's your only way of potentially coming back. You see that he summons Monk. Monk goes into defense. And it really is unfortunate that he had that, what's it called? Oh, he's got a Fiendish Chain 2 down there? Man, that's bad. See, I was thinking he could probably play around the evac. I don't necessarily know if he can play around the Fiendish Chain. So, looks like he activated Monk's effect by pitching Instant Fusion. Now, I don't understand why he wouldn't pitch the Soul Charge, because he only has one card in graveyard. And I don't know. He has the only thing in his graveyard is Exciton Knight. So Soul Charge just seems like it wasn't going to be good. The Instant Fusion actually seemed like a live card there, because the Instant Fusion instantly got you into an Exceed. Like, the Instant Fusion was live. You could have played that and potentially went into an Exceed. The Soul Charge isn't live. That's why it's still sitting in your hand. That was a colossal misplay. And right now, Oliver is not looking very good with his Infernity. I mean, I don't want to criticize the guy, but he's not playing the deck very well right now. It looks like Rogger went into an Exceed. I can't see exactly which one it was. And he plays 10 Goldfish too. So the irony is we could be seeing both players summon 10 Goldfish. So he made Gear Giant X. Looks like he's going to swing. He swings with Myrmilio. And, I mean, he mainly needed something to get over the body of Monk. He goes into another unnecessarily long power shuffle. I'm a little surprised that he didn't put Berserk of Rhapsody in attack mode and just simply attack. To me, it appears that your opponent's back row is incredibly dead. I want to end the game as quickly as possible. I want to make sure that there is no potential for you to have Soul Charge comebacks. I think putting your opponent under 2 cards for Soul Charge would have been a good idea, but it could have been something he simply overlooked. He drew Dark Grepher, it appears, which is not going to do much of anything. The Soul Charge won't save him, because if he summons Grepher, and if he had 2 monsters in his graveyard, the Soul Charge might do something. But with just one, he could Soul Charge, then he'd summon Grepher, and then Rogger would just immediately evac it, and then he would just lose. So you see that Rogger pretty much controlled the game. It's good to see Gadgets still doing their thing. Some people were asking, like, how did Gadgets, you know, like, why would he play Gadgets? I mean, let's be real. The concept of card economy still lives in Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, you summon a Gadget, you go +1. All you really have to do is protect the Gadget for 1 turn, and then you should be able to summon another Gadget. If that Gadget, you know, the next Gadget dies to a Solemn Warning, you know, it doesn't matter, because you're still technically +1 from the first Gadget. If you get hit with even a Torrential, you're still +1, because the second Gadget still recruits. So unless your opponent, like, breaks the chain early, you're always going to be +1 with the Gadgets until you run out of them. And then obviously you get the utility of making Exceed summons and stuff like that. Like, Exceeds did for Gadgets, like, just wondrous things. Kind of like Gravekeepers. One of those really old archetypes that are only going to benefit from the Exceed summon. And Gear Giant X helped them a lot, even though he doesn't work as well in Gadgets as he does in Gear, obviously, because when he dies, he doesn't get that really good effect where he can just summon something back, making him the ultimate floater. But, I mean, it's still a really good card in the deck. So, they're looking at siding. I would have to say that this match is heavily in Rogger's favor, mainly because he's got a, I don't know what flag that is that he has, if that's, I'm not going to take a guess and end up looking stupid. Anyways, yeah, I think that this match is heavily in his favor. The only way I could see him getting beaten handedly is, number one, drawing too many Gadgets. You never want to do that. And then number 2 would probably be if he doesn't, like, if he just gets outsped, like the gadgets aren't going to do anything at that point. Let's skip ahead. Yeah, we're going to skip ahead and we're going to cut out all the in-between breaks and whatnot. Okay, so Oliver opens up with Break, Archfiend, Upstart, Solemn Warning, and Armageddon Knights. That's a really good hand, because he can go Armageddon Knight, he can dump Street Patrol into the graveyard. Obviously, he can then set all his back row, and then he'll be able to get to special the Archfiend, which will net him a barrier if he wants. I'd go barrier. All right, so he opens up a Getty Knight. He dumps Street Patrol into the graveyard. He sets everything. Banishes Street Patrol. Oh, come on, Roger. Don't read Street Patrol like you don't know what it is. Don't play dumb. He's going to activate its effect. At this point, he can get barrier. Actually, no. I think... No. You don't get barrier. If nothing else, you get necromancer at the least. Because these two can exceed into Lavalval Chain. You can dump a second Street Patrol. Then you can summon your necromancer. And then you can get your Archfiend back and get the barrier anyway. So why get the barrier initially when you can get necromancer plus barrier? At the minimum. Okay, so he goes for launcher. And Street Patrol is probably going to dump necromancer in the graveyard. Legit play. Okay. Now, I don't know why they went to that angle, but it looks like he's going to activate Lavalval Chain's effect. He dumped an Archfiend in the graveyard, and now he's going to activate Archfiend's effect. Well, he summoned them both from, what's it called? He summoned them both back from the launcher. That got him a necromancer in hand. He detaches, probably to dump a Street Patrol in the graveyard. And now he's going to get his necromancer. Necromancer is going to get Archfiend. Now I think he's going to get barrier. He does. He sets, and I believe he has 7 cards. So again, +2. Not to mention he does have, well, I mean, his opponent needs to get rid of like pretty much his entire field, because after he detaches from the Lavalval Chain, the one that has the one that has Archfiend as a material, then he'll just be able to summon the Archfiend back with Necromancer, and he'll be able to get a free break from that. And he has Solemn Warning too. Yeah, this is one of those kind of uncrackable hands. He activated, or he leaves Upstart Goblin face down, obviously not wanting to draw a monster potentially, and making his break not live. This is going to be really difficult for him to fight back against. The Fiendish Chain is no good. He's already resolved enough effects to where none of his effects on field matter. He's going to blind space. I believe that's the... Did he blind space for the barrier? He did. There's nothing that Oliver can do against it. I mean, he can negate it, but that doesn't do anything. So he goes for Murmilio. That gets Solemn Warninged. Seems a little premature to me. I just say that because what does getting a bottomless do for you? Like, getting a bottomless does not do anything at all. Not when I can beat over her. Now, if she was like 2,000 attack or like 1,900, okay, it might be a problem, but just the fact that I can just beat over her, your bottomless trap hole doesn't do anything. You see the end phase MST, or Infernity Break, which is MST in this situation. Even if you had an Artifact Master, it wouldn't have activated, so I think that was a pretty decent play. I had no problem with that. And I won't be surprised if Oliver detaches the Archfiend Lavalval and sends Eris to the graveyard, and then he gets his Paralabyrinth, because not only will he go +1 with that exchange, but he'll then be able to get another break from the Archfiend, and from that point, he simplified the game too much to where Rogers is not coming back. So I think he detached to send a street patrol to the graveyard. I guess his only concern, maybe his only concern might be, you know, do I want to special into a torrential? Now I can't see exactly what's going on because they keep going to this stupid ass wide angle. Like, why do they keep doing this? Just stay with the overhead. It's working perfectly. Okay, he has Archfiend Eris on field. Lord, this is pissing me off because you can't see what's happening at all. Okay, somehow he's Xing. It looks like he's Xing with Eris and Archfiend like that. Okay, that's not possible because Eris is a level 3. Oh, okay, that's what happened. He decided to stack Archfiend on top of his deck. Again, I agree with that because that basically minimizes the risk of Torrential Tribute. It's like, okay, well, if you happen to have the one Torrential, it doesn't matter because I'm getting an Archfiend anyway. And then not only would he be able to special Archfiend, but he could then get a break from Archfiend and then actually activate his upstart because whatever he drew would be live because he could just summon it knowing that his special summon was committed to Archfiend and he hadn't used his normal yet. Looks like he passed his turn. And we're going to see another power shuffle during the end phase. I think that this game is a foregone conclusion. I think that Rogger plays a very solid deck going first. To me, it looks like it's going to be difficult if he doesn't draw any hand traps. Like in game 1, I mean, Oliver like semi-bricked because he had a what's it called? He had double monk. That's not good. And then he had an Infernity break that he could never use. He blind MST'd the Solemn Warning. That was just huge. And he had Nightmare plus Bottomless. I mean, he pretty much had all the answers. Okay, so again, he plays another Murmillo. But I think he's going to realize what he would have realized had his first Murmillo not got warninged. It doesn't do anything, and that's what he does. He just scoops it up. Honestly, again, just from Jump Street, Oliver got way too many cards. I don't understand why he's Solemn Warning the Murmillo. Like, what possibly could the Murmillo have done? It could have gotten you a Bottomless, right? And then I'd have beat the shit out of your Murmillo with my monsters on board. So your Murmillo would have been like, yay, I'm here. Oh, shit. What are all those big-ass monsters doing on board? I'm about to get my ass whooped. This is going to be, like, some bad stuff. Okay, looks like they're both shuffling. One thing I do question about this event now that I look at it is everyone's running the same card sleeves. That seems like really short-sighted because if you have a mirror match and stuff like 101 and, you know what I mean, mind control, it just seems like there's too high of a possibility of people, you know, having cards in their opponent's decks and stuff. That actually happened in the round 5 feature. Now, Oliver starts off with, well, I'm not worried about Oliver. I'm worried about Rogers' hand because he went first. Oliver has a really good hand, I would say. Photon Thrasher, Rhoda, Archfiend. So he can get the Getty Knight. Now, Rogers' hand doesn't look very strong to me from what they show. And he's got break, too. So he opens up with, I believe that's Yellow Gadget. But he has another gadget in hand. That's the problem with gadgets. The problem with gadgets is you just want to draw one gadget. That's it. Like the ideal hand with gadgets would be like one gadget, one hand trap, and then like all other traps. Now you see he has 2 gadgets in hand. Do you know how long it's going to take for him to get value out of those 2 gadgets against a deck like Infernity that basically wants to decide the game in the first 2 turns. Unfortunately, your gadget train can take like 4 turns to really pay off. You know what I mean? So it's not good. If he gets mounted, he will lose because those gadgets in hand won't do shit because gadgets require you to either have A, a bunch of defense, or B, other gadgets on board to where you can exceed for more powerful cards. If you're summoning into an established field with gadgets, you're not doing anything. You're going to lose. This game will be decided on whether Oliver can mount him in 2 turns. Oliver needs to win this duel by his next turn. And honestly, I think he's going to do it. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think Oliver's going to win this game just based on their hands and nothing else. I don't think that Rogger's going to get value out of that MST. And actually, now that I look at it, the fact that he went +1, I think it's going to hurt him, because if I'm Oliver, Exit Time Knight all day. Exit Time Knight is basically a win condition for Infernity, just people don't realize it. Like, if you set those big boards with Infernity, you better be damn sure that you have protection against Exit Time Knight. Now, once again, I would attack. Okay, I'm pretty sure Photon Thrasher can attack. I'm pretty sure he can attack if you control another monster. So yeah, yeah. I'm glad that the judge caught that immediately. Photon Thrasher totally cannot attack if you control another monster. Dude, did he just Phoenix Chain Street Patrol? Why? You do realize he's gonna Excite Time Knight you. Now, if Oliver doesn't Excite Time Knight him, I'm not even gonna upload this shit. That's how mad I'm gonna be. Oliver just basically he just got a free +1. I don't think protecting that gadget is gonna do a ton for him. Does he have 2 breaks in hand? I really don't think that matters that much. I think that Rogger definitely should have saved. I think he definitely should have saved that what's it called? He should have saved that Phoenix Chain, because you know that an XC is coming. Even if you bottomless, whatever. I don't care. Even if you stop the Excite Time Knight, you should have saved the Phoenix Chain. He uses Warning, which if I'm Oliver, I'm like, praise Jeebus. You just burnt Warning and Evac on turn 1. You got no value out of your cards. I'm sorry, you just didn't. Now Oliver's probably going to get blind MST. Oh, never mind. He said everything, and now he has Archfiend. And now he's able to go plus. He should be able to either get a break or a barrier or something good. I might even consider a launcher, to be honest. Well, no. He needs to, yeah, you get barrier because he needs to make his breaks live. Otherwise, what's the point of having the launcher? Like, if my opponent summoned the gadget, I'd probably barrier it. And then you'd be sitting on nothing but your gadget on field. I would break your back row during your turn. And then from that point, I've simplified the game too much for you to win. It doesn't matter if I draw any other monsters or any other good spell or traps. That's basically icing on the cake because I'm playing with house money. My Archfiend is now bigger than anything that you can throw on me. I'm still sitting on another break. Anything else I draw is house money. I think that Rogger made a huge misplay by burning the Phoenix Chain. He should have used the Phoenix Chain on the Exit Time Knight, and then he should have used Warning on the Archfiend. He drew Soul Charge. That couldn't have been more dead. That just couldn't have been more dead. I'm trying to think of what Rogger can actually do. You know what? I think, as bad as this sounds, I think I might just actually, instead of using Barrier on the gadget, I think I might use Break on the gadget. Oh boy. Did he blind MST? If that's a break, he's gonna cry. No, okay, he blind MST the barrier. That's fine. He blind MST the barrier. Now you have to start looking at card counting here. Well, I think that Oliver, his only concern is, I think his only concern would be, well, actually, a Luminescent Knight would be a little bit of a concern, and so would, I guess, maybe 101. You know what? There are some legitimate threats that he can make. I think you have to break. I think you have to break the what's it called. Unfortunately, I think you have to use break on the gadget because there are too many XCs, even with double break, that you can't afford to see. Your opponent's gonna get the card anyway. There's nothing you can do about that. He does use break. I guess either one. It doesn't really matter which gadget you break. And yeah, he does. It does look like he used break on a gadget. So he's got yellow and green on field. He adds red to the hand. And I think this duel is going to come down. The Soul Charge changed things because it means that Rogger can still go to an Exceed play. The Soul Charge changed things to where Rogger or Oliver will probably have to burn more cards before he wants to. Because if I'm Rogger, I'm probably going to Soul Charge, even if it's just for one. And I'm going to try and make, I don't know, 101 or a Wolf. He does not Soul Charge. That's surprising. I think that maybe he should have Soul Charged there. Unless he's really trying to go for a bigger play. Now, it looks like Oliver top deck Greffer. Obviously, he doesn't have a hand to use the effect with. He could obviously, at the minimum, get in for 1,800. 24 if it's actually 26 with Cowboy. But there's no reason for him to Cowboy. He played something. Was that the Rhoda? Yeah, okay, he actually played the Rhoda. And he pitched Armageddon Knight for Street Patrol. Oh, I know what he's going to do. He's going to go for Lavalval Chain. He's going to dump Eris. He's going to get Archfiend. And then he's going to activate Street Patrol. Well, it looks like he's going to attack first. I guess. Yeah, it looks like he attacked. If I'm not mistaken, I think he actually just did less damage by attacking. Oddly enough. No, he didn't. If he attacked with the Archfiend, then it doesn't matter. Because I was going to say, he's going to have two 18s on board. So, as long as he attacked with the 18, then, yeah, he did the same amount of damage. So, yeah, you're going to see that he did dump the Eris into the graveyard. It's going to get an Archfiend search. And just really needs to think what he wants here. If he wants to put an Archfiend on top. If he wants to get break. What does he want to do? He opts to get break. And it looks like he's going to pass it back to his opponent. If Rogger was waiting for a time to Soul Charge, now would be that time. The problem is he's kind of sitting on, I almost want to say he's sitting on too many cards. Like that, the fact that he keeps going plus with those gadgets, it means that he can't Exciton item. And then he's got that Fiendish Chain on board that counts against Exciton Knight too. So that's not doing anything. What does he draw? He's got a Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare. That can be useful if he can survive. If he can survive long enough, that card might actually be useful. Obviously, it's time for a big Soul Charge play here. He got a couple of gadgets in his graveyard that he can go for. 101 would be a pretty decent play because 101 would get rid of Archfiend, and it would be bigger than Lavalval Chain, and it would block a break too. So I mean, it would seemingly be the best card of choice here. Either that or, you know, Luminescent Knight. That can retarget the break, put your opponent in a tight bind. But again, all of that is kind of subject to him actually resolving the Soul Charge. And then him, you know, having the guts to exceed into the back row. And the thing that is really worked in Rogers' favor in this matchup is he's had the MST both times for Barrier. So, you know, Oliver hasn't gotten Barrier. He hasn't gotten any value out of Barrier in this game. He pays 2,000 life points, so he's sitting at 2,200. And now it looks like he's going to dig into that Exceed deck. He's going to trigger his gadgets. He's going to search a green gadget. He's got gadgets for days. Alright, so this is where gadgets have to be able to showcase their abilities. Now, if for some reason he wasn't able to resolve that, soul charge, I would have thought that this game definitely would have been over. He just wouldn't have had any way of mounting Oliver's board. There seems to be a ruling issue of some sort, or a judging issue. Not exactly sure what's going on. Hopefully it doesn't last too long. Or they may just want to be checking something to for like the coverage or something like that. They may have wanted to read a card or whatever. I like Jerome McHale's tie. It's very yellow. It's like a goldish yellow. Alright. So he's looking at his extra deck. Again, my two bets are a Luminescent Knight and 101. Those would be my two choices. I can't tell what card that is. I really can't. It kind of looks like 101, but it looks like it might be an ultimate rare version of 101. I can't 100% see. Now, here's the thing, though. He does give up his battle phase. So, he's only killing... If that's 101, dude, yeah, he totally tried to attack. You cannot attack on the turn that you use Soul Charge. Now, again, I can't actually tell what monster that is. I'm going to assume if he didn't activate any effect that it's a Luminescent Knight. A Luminescent Knight is, what, 2450? Although I could be wrong. He uses Break on the back row, which is Nightmare. He top decks a Monk, which means he can see into whatever he wants now. He summons the Monk. Monk hits defense mode. Looks like he's going to XC. I think he's going to go like Rhapsody of Berserk so that he can just attack over. Although I couldn't see what he made either. Okay, so either he made 101 or he made Rhapsody of Berserk or something